Hi everyone, my name is Joseph Anidjar. I'm a guitarist from Montreal, and today we are checking out the new Submission Audio UmanskyBass Plugin. Jacob is a good friend of mine, and he was nice enough to hook me up with the plugin so I could check it out early. So I guess let's just jump straight into this mix. In terms of drums, I'm just using the Get Good Drums library, the first one. I've been using it forever. If you want to check out an in-depth mix of this drum set, I made one a while ago, and I'm basically still doing, I'm doing the same thing. There's a few little differences, but I'm mostly doing everything the same. So the drums by itself sound like that. You know, cool sound. I love the drum set. For the rhythm guitars, I'm using Archetype Nolly because it sounds great, and I really like this 5150 type thing for anything that's sort of heavier. It sounds like this. For the lead guitar, I used Archetype Pertinent with the third amp. Other than that, I just have some extra production, doubling some of the guitar riffs, like this. It's mostly Labs stuff, Spitfire Labs. And that's actually what I did with the intro as well, except I added like a reverse cymbal. Right, that sort of thing. Let's get down to the cool bit of this demo. Let's check out the UmanskyBass plugin. Like most MIDI instruments, what becomes really cool is when you start learning the intricacies of the articulations. And this bass plugin has a ton of articulations. Some people might be a bit overwhelmed with that, but I think as you learn it, it will make it easier to program a convincing bass performance, which is kind of the point, right? You want it to sound sick. And I think some of this sounds pretty realistic, right? Also, there's a lot of these thumping articulations over here. All this stuff over here is the articulations, and you could see I'm kind of going into with the velocities of all these hits. If you know how thumping works, right, it's your accented notes will be your thumb down, and then your thumb up, and your fingers will be sort of done a bit more quietly. You might try to play it as even as possible, but in reality, the accented note will be louder. So that's kind of what I have programmed here. Sounds pretty cool, I think. If I just bypass everything that I have on this bass for a second, I'll show you what's happening. So what I did for this demo is I took the DI sound and I processed it. You don't have to do that because Jacob put some tones into the plugins already. So here's what the DI sounds like. It's pretty cool. I really like that. Here's a clean tone that he included. The dirty tone. And a sort of disgusting, grimy, really distorted tone. I don't know exactly what his chain is for those, but it's a lot of distortion. Maybe a bit too much for the part I programmed over here, but probably fine for like... I should probably talk about what I actually did on my demo, right? So here's the DI. And I'll actually mute the drums so you can really hear what I'm talking about. So first thing I did is I brought up the parallax. Then I did a little EQing. Just to control the sort of like low-mid things that bass have. So I kind of controlled that here. And then I controlled some of this stuff back and forth. So it just fits in the mix better. And I did a little Pro MB for the multiband. You can see how it's affecting the higher notes way different than it's affecting the low notes. That's to pin the low end even more. Right. And L1. You gotta put L1 on everything, man. It's just so sick. And that's the mix, right? And that's pretty much it. I guess real quick, what I'm doing on the master bus or my 2 bus is I have some of this stuff, right, to sort of get the snare to fit into the mix better. It's more of a finishing move. So with it, without it, with it. So you can really hear on the snare hits, the snare is like completely separated from the mix and sounds like ass. So that's not what we want. So I like this compressor a lot. It's sick. Some EQ moves on the 2 bus. High pass my stereo channels, and then a couple little moves here. Here, I'll bypass it, but it's very subtle. So most of what this is doing is in the high end, making sure that my sides don't have too much sub, because that kind of makes a mix sound really muddy and messy, and that's not what I'm looking for. I'm a clean low end type of guy. And lastly, another submission plugin, you know, Flatline, the Pro L killer, as people call it. It's pretty sick. I could probably be pushing this a bit harder, but I think when the lead comes in, it gets really loud, so I didn't. Yeah, I mean, you know, -9, -8 LUFS, like, you know, this is loud enough for me. Okay, it's loud enough for me. If this was a song, maybe I would put another limiter at the end to get a couple extra dB. But for me, and for, you know, for the YouTube, like, it's loud enough. I'm more looking to sort of control the transients and get them to cut, like the drum transients. You can see all these. That's what's more important to me than actual loudness. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple mix. Lots of tiny moves, mostly just getting the source tones right. Writing and producing with such amazing sounding MIDI instruments really makes it inspiring and easy. I'm a shitty bass player, so in my demos, like, I gotta rely on like synths and stuff. So it's great working with such a sick plugin. Yeah, if you enjoy my playing, you should check me out on Instagram. That's where I'm the most active. I also have a sort of podcast-esque series with my buddy Josh Della called Trading Licks, where we post discussions on all things music and playing. And yeah, I have some music out. If you want to check it out, that'd be cool. And other than that, I'll see you guys in the next one, okay? Goodbye.